Good evening. My name is Rob Myers, and the following video is my final project for Environmental Ethics EVSP 508 for American Military University. The requirement for this project is to present an argument based on whether or not I believe humans are a part of nature or apart from nature. I believe that humans are a part of nature, and here is why. I will start by discussing my personal view on environmental ethics. As we have learned in this class, ethics are established in us as humans very early in our lives. For many of us, religion is the center of gravity for establishing our ethics and ethical views. I was raised Methodist, however I am now Catholic. In research for this class, I've discussed many of the shortfalls of the modern Christian teachings and their lack of focus on environmental ethics. So if environmental ethics were not founded by the church, how did I obtain them? I believe that I developed my environmental ethics through other means such as Boy Scouts, science class, and pursuit of outdoor hobbies. As I've mentioned previously, I enjoy hunting, fishing, camping, and being outside. Through all of those activities, I've developed a personal understanding of my own environmental ethic. One resource that speaks to my personal environmental ethic is Aldo Leopold's Land Ethic. Although this document is sometimes seen as controversial, I agree that it helped shape modern ideals of conservation. Leopold explains that everything on Earth exists in a biotic community. That biotic community is made up of humans, animals, water, plants, soil, and additional organisms. He establishes this connection, and it serves quite literally as the basis for the study of modern ecology. The controversy lies in the fact that Leopold suggests quite strongly that we are indeed a part of nature. At the time the document was published, many people believed that this connection was not possible because of our ability to feel pain or our ability to have rational thought. Our ability to do those things was seen at a greater capacity than other living organisms. This argument is tied to our view and understanding of intrinsic value and how each creature either possesses it or does not. I am a strong believer that everything has value, and we are just as important in this world as many other plants, animals, and other organisms. It is our responsibility, though, as humans, to take care of our natural resources and actively work towards conservation goals. This brings me to my next point, which is management of the commons. I think I can safely assume that everyone watching this video is familiar with Hardin's document, The Tragedy of the Commons. His argument in that document is that there are no more common lands or common resources that have not been exploited by individuals for their own benefit. I do not completely agree that all is lost. I do not believe that all of the commons have been exploited and are no longer usable. I do think that there are definitely instances of mismanagement and exploitation, but again, all is not lost. The views of Dr. Elinor Ostrom highlight a different aspect of the commons. She was an economist and won the Nobel Prize for her work on understanding and determining management of the commons. She outlines her 8 basic principles for managing a commons. These principles are in line with my view of our part in nature. The first principle is define clear group boundaries. The second is to match rules governing use of common goods to local needs and conditions. The third, ensure that those affected by the rules can participate in modifying the rules. The fourth, make sure the rulemaking rights of community members are respected by outside authorities. The fifth, develop a system carried out by community members for monitoring members' behavior. The 6th, use graduated sanctions for rule violators. The 7th, provide accessible, low-cost means for dispute resolution. And the 8th, build responsibility for governing the common resource in nested tiers from the lowest level up to the entire interconnected system. These principles highlight very simple aspects of managing the commons. Dr. Ostrom's view of the commons is more in line with my personal view of how humans are truly a part of nature. Again, I do not agree with Hardin that all is lost and that there is a tragedy of the commons. I believe that we have possibly missed a step in the order of principles outlined by Dr. Ostrom. In order for us to truly avoid the tragedy of the commons, we must follow a similar outline like she has proposed. As I have stated previously, I believe that we as humans are an integral part of nature. I have described my own personal land ethic and my views on management of common resources. Each and every one of you may have different views than those that I have outlined for myself. Because of our different beliefs and views, I think we as a global community are currently at a standstill when determining the best way to manage global climate change and pollution. In order for us to move forward and solve this problem, we have to find some common ground. As we discussed this week, we as an international community of scientists, economists, and citizens are at a standstill trying to determine who is going to pay for climate change. I would argue that because the entire globe does not have the same land ethic, and because we do not follow the principles of managing the commons, we are in our current predicament. Through my research in this final week of the course, I found that an underlying theme with the current climate problem is that there is a lack of significant quantifiable research to support modern policy. When we as humans try to align our goals and ethics with a management problem, if we do not have a shared understanding of the facts or the research, it creates problems with the process. For instance, economists view the level of optimal pollution differently than scientists. Economists view optimal pollution based on pollution's current impact to the human population. This cause and effect relationship does not translate well when future generations are not considered. How do we accurately account for the cost incurred by a population that is forced to displace its community because of climate change? This cost will increase significantly, similar to compound interest. If that displaced population leaves its home due to a sea level rise today, how many moves will those people be forced to make before they can settle down in a new area and begin their lives again? If a farmer loses his crops this year and next year due to severe drought, those numbers are quantifiable. But how do we determine the impact on his family 3 generations from now? We must use state-of-the-art scientific research, economic modeling, combined with social and ethical research to determine the best course of action for managing climate change. The science and modeling that projects how climate change or pollution currently affects a society must be developed and implemented to support long-term sustainability. The current predicament with climate change is actually a great example of how we see ourselves as a part of nature. I believe we are in a very fortunate time as we are truly beginning to focus on climate change. Yes, it is sad that we have let pollution and climate change come this far, but if we work together, we can make a change for the future. Again, I believe that humans are truly a part of nature. I think that we are currently faced with some very serious challenges, especially in the way of climate change. We must use all available resources to determine equitable, fair solutions that provide sustainability for future generations to come. Determining a land ethic, developing a system for commons management, and using science-based research to drive modern policy will be vital for long-term sustainability and protection of our natural resources. This is the end of my presentation. I have truly enjoyed working with everyone in this class. I look forward to working with many of you in our future classes together. Best of luck to everyone in their pursuit of their degree. Thank you. Have a good night.